Welcome back to another episode of Harmonious at Lunch, the show that fuels your business success. I'm Brandon Gano, your host and guide through the world of harmonious business growth. Today, we're unlocking powerful strategies with industry experts to help your business thrive. If you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or executive, you are in the right place. Join me and our incredible guests today on the journey to clarity, growth, and success. It is time to revolutionize your approach to business. Let's dive in with another episode of Harmonious at Lunch. Welcome back into some more bite-sized business advice. In today's episode, we got a good one. 4 elements of a powerful presentation, but the real topic is how to actually get leads and make money from stage and from speaking using your mouth as a business owner. Who doesn't want that, right? I have an amazing guest here who's far more qualified than me to talk about this. And he's amazing so far from what I can tell. So Danny Brassell, welcome to the show and thank you for being here.
Thanks so much for having me, Brandon. And thanks for all you do to help spread some joy around the world. We need a lot more of you.
I love that. Received loud and clear. Thank you so much. And I'm curious because this is something I hear in the circles of business owners all the time is you need to speak, you need to give presentations. That's how you get leads. That's how you get clients. And not a whole lot of people do it. And of those who do it, even fewer do it really, really well. So tell me, what's your take on this and why is this topic an area of passion for you?
Well, I think a well-crafted story is your fastest way to expand your business, to help bring you more freedom and to give you more impact in the world. And when you create a well-crafted story, I mean, I hear people give different terms to what we call these things. I mean, if you were a politician calls it a stump speech. This is a speech you give again and again to introduce yourself to new audiences. In superhero movies, they call it the origin story. I love people like Daniel Pink would call it your purpose-driven speech. It's basically, how do you introduce yourself to the world? This is your fingerprint. This is what makes you uniquely you, and this is the easiest way to capture other people's attention, whether you're speaking one to many or one to few or just one to one, whether you're speaking in a boardroom or a ballroom, a classroom, a courtroom, a showroom. Heck, we even taught a guy, he used his little well-crafted story in the restroom, and hopefully he washed his hands afterwards, but I wouldn't recommend that one. But you can do it live like we're doing now, or you can do it recorded. You can do it virtual like we're doing right now, or you can do it in person. It's something to introduce yourself to new audiences that gets them to want to take the next step with you, whether that's to purchase your product or to donate to your cause or just to invest in your idea.
I love it. I have no idea what taking the next step with you from the bathroom would be, but so we're not going to speak to that audience.
Hopefully today. It was wipe.
Yeah, right.
Or wash your hands.
The next step is wipe, and then that's it. There is no more steps if you don't do that one. Okay. Outside of that, I love the way you frame that though, and I think it makes it really simple and it's digestible, right? Take the next step. We overcomplicate things in life and business so often. We see the end result, but we fail to see the next step. And it's such a good way to put it. So I've heard this concept from a number of people is telling your story, your unique story. That's the only thing that makes you you. You said it's your fingerprint, which I love that analogy. What is the first step to creating your story? What is your take on creating your own story?
Well, I'll go with, and this isn't unique to me. There's lots of people out there pushing different things. A lot of them like to use alliteration. So why don't I use alliteration? Actually, my 7th grade speech coach, Lynn Eskridge, she said that a good presentation has 4 elements. It starts with an introduction, then it leads you into the instruction, and then you have an invitation to your audience to do further work with you, and then you end with inspiration. I had to do something different. So I gave the 4 C's. So first of all, you connect with your audience, and then you teach the content, and then you have a call to action, and then you end with your close. Again, you could call these things peanut butter and jelly, but what I want the audience to understand is anybody can do this. It's a formula. It works. I don't know how to cook at all, but I promise you, if you gave me a recipe on how to cook chocolate chip cookies and I followed that recipe, I'm pretty sure, Brandon, I could come up with some pretty decent chocolate chip cookies. The same can be said with speaking. And, the people I work with, they always a lot of them deal with stage fright and things like that. And I always remind them, every expert started off as an amateur. The way you become the expert is through the reps. The first time you did this podcast, I guarantee you it stunk. And then the second time you did it, it stunk, but it stunk a little bit less than the first time you did it. Now you're an old pro and this is no problem for you, but it took the reps. And that's what I'm always emphasizing with our clients. You need to do the reps. And you do. One of my mentors was Jim Rohn, and Jim used to say, you can't pay other people to do your push-ups. You got to do the work.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, it took me 273 episodes that stunk. And this one, I got it right. So like,
there you go.
For your sake, I cracked the code finally. But it's funny that you say that, because I always tell people that, and I don't, it doesn't embarrass me at all. I've never gone back to look at the episodes. I just know for a fact they're terrible, the first 25 of them. But I always tell people that. And then the other thing I follow that up with is I say, that's why I did the podcast, because I knew I was going to be in a role where I was speaking to business owners. I was going to be asked to speak from stage on other podcasts. And I said, well, if I don't figure this out, I don't want those to be bad. So I need to put on my own show where it can be bad and I can be less embarrassed about it at first. And that's exactly where the show came from. So it's just a little funny moment that you brought that up. And I love that you acknowledge that for people. So I'm curious, between the 4 C's, crafting a good presentation, and then actually converting that into clients, leads, sales, revenue, whatever it is for you, donations, investments, whatever it could be for somebody. How do we connect those dots, and how do we get really good at delivering presentations so that people actually want to, when we get to the 3rd C, that they actually want to give us their money or their investment?
All right. I'll let you and your audience in on a little secret right now.
Hit me. I love secrets.
Stop selling, start serving.
Oh, I love that
one of my mentors was a guy named Zig Ziglar, and Zig used to say, you can get anything you want in life by helping other people get what they want. I see so many of these presentations where the person is teasing you with an answer. They keep on talking about the pain, but they don't give you a solution. I mean, I already know the problem. That's why I came to watch you. I think you have a responsibility to your audience to provide at least one short-term solution that shows them that they can do this. And then I think you should also, a well-crafted story also presents a long-term solution that says, it convinces the audience, well, you can do this, but you need me to help because I'm a couple of steps ahead of you. And as in terms, we already talked about, it's the reps. I brag about, I do these well-crafted story 2-day workshops with my partner in arms, Coach Jimmy Hayes Nelson. And I call us the professor and the poet because I have an educational background. He comes from Broadway. And, while he loves to do everything based on feeling, I like to do everything based on research. I think if you want an opinion, talk to your uncle. If you want research, come to me. We're going to do things that actually have been proven to work. I just want to give one example. A guy we worked with, not this past January, the January before, so about 18 months ago, Gustavo. Gustavo should be president of the United States, Brandon. I mean, he came to America from Ecuador, didn't speak a word of English, worked every menial job possible, invested every dime into real estate. 30 years later, he's worth like $40 million. And so he attended our 2-day workshop. And on day 2, we were helping him craft his offer. Well, his offer is he has a 4-month coaching program for $40,000. Now, Brandon, I craft a lot of offers. That's a pretty high ask, but I told him, hey, you got to do the work. I mean, you got to get out there and speak. I mean, go out and speak to elementary schools, to service clubs, to chambers of commerce, go on Facebook Live, if nothing else. And he said, well, I'm going on a podcast tonight. I'm like, here's my phone number, Gustavo. You got to call me tomorrow and tell me how it went. So he calls me the next day, Brandon. He's so excited. He's like, Danny, you're a genius. I'm like, did you go on the podcast? He's like, yes. I'm like, did you make the offer? He's like, yes. I'm like, did you sell any? He's like, 23. Brandon.
23?
Brandon, my background's reading, not math. But if I'm doing my math properly, he made $920,000 that night on an offer we had crafted that afternoon. I mean, I need to start charging a commission on these things. And since then, he and I are still in touch because I'm a coach that's always on your back because I want you to succeed. And he's made 8 figures off of that one speech that we created. And what I love about talking about Gustavo is it's kind of like what you were talking about you with your podcast, Brandon. He got he got comfortable being uncomfortable. He did something he didn't think he was going to be good at. He just did it. That's how you do it. You do it and you get in the reps. And so kudos to you. Kudos to Gustavo. The people that succeed in this world are the people that go out and take action. So I just love people. I never thought I was going to like coaching because I used to be a teacher and I have very high standards of my students and I stay on them all the time. And I'm still the same. I called at least 10 of my coaching clients today, just checking in. I'm like, hey, how many speeches have you given? How much are you making? What can I do to help you? Because it's about success to me. I don't like these charlatans that, I'm a little bit different than a lot of coaches. A lot of these guys will sit there and tell you, oh, share with your audience the saddest moment of your life. I'm like, really? The world just survived a global pandemic. I think we need some more hopeful stories, not these sad stories. Second of all, this is a talk that you have to give again and again. So I have a friend, his daughter was killed in a school shooting. Brandon, he's delivered that speech over 1,000 times. You got to be a lot stronger than me to talk about the worst day of your life over and over again. And third, and this is what makes people angry with me, I have one objective when I'm on a stage. I want you to leave feeling better than you came in. I want you laughing, smiling, happy. I can tell the same joke again and again, and there's something admirable about my objective of getting you to smile. I believe these people that tell you the same sad story again and again, by the 20th time they're telling that story, those are now crocodile tears, and now you're being manipulative. And I, for one, don't want to have to take a shower every time I get off stage. And I'm not saying it's not an effective sales strategy. It's very effective, but I just hate the tactic. And that's why I work with Jimmy. I said, you know what? I won't work with people and tell them to give sob stories. I just think it's very manipulative. And I obviously there's some exceptions. If I'm an American, I want the happy ending. So if you start off in bad shape, as long as you give me the happy ending, I'm all right with that. But these people that just it's like the Karate Kid technique. They sweep the leg. They keep on making it hurt and hurt and hurt. But you got to show people that you have the antidote.
Oh man, we could go down like 7 different rabbit holes on this, and I'm quite sure we could talk about this for days at this point because I have seen those things. I've seen them in person. I've seen them from behind the stage in some scenarios. And I remember where we, my business partner met. Actually, it was I guess a type of a mastermind or a program, literally training you how to speak. And these were some of the things they told you to do using, this is why I'm laughing, the Karate Kid as the example. They would play clips from the movie and say those exact words that you just said. I don't know, Danny, were you in that club too before I was and you got out too?
Yeah, well, I've been around those, and I don't name them, but they're just swarmy people. And actually, you know what? I watch 10 speakers a day. I used to be addicted. I'd even go to infomercials. And there's this one guy I watched, and he had his hair slicked back, his Pat Riley suit, and he said, "There are 2 types of people in this world: good, hardworking people, and rich people." I'm like, oh gosh, geez,
So bad.
Oh well.
Oh man. Anyway, well, I love your style. I love what you're all about. And I think that's true. We should, I think if more people wanted that, if they wanted to make more people laugh and feel joy when they encounter them, sales would be probably a whole lot easier because you didn't manipulate their emotions, and there'd be very little buyer's remorse, and the world would be a happier place. So let's all strive for that. I'm on Danny's team this time.
Thank you. Well, I used to be a kindergarten teacher, and I used to tell the kids, I'm like, kids, you have the rest of your lives to be miserable. This year we're laughing, I want us happy. I have friends that we played high school football together, and they still talk about when we played high school football. And I'm like, you know what? The windshield's a lot bigger than the rear view mirror. Let's look forward and let's keep it positive.
Absolutely. You know what? That's a good tactic, though. Imagine if you were a kindergarten teacher and your objective was to make your audience cry, to move them, or to get them to listen to you. I mean, it's not a very good teacher, is it?
It's pretty depressing. That's a bad way to start off all of your schooling.
So, Danny, I love your outlook. I love that you're sharing this methodology with us. We could explore this. Really, this would take hours longer. You do workshops on this, so obviously it takes longer than that. Where can somebody go if they want to take this next step? They realize that, okay, it is going to take me speaking to people in public, from stages, on podcasts, wherever. to actually grow my business, where can they learn more about you and about your methodology?
Thank you for that, Brandon. Well, so thank you to you and your audience for enduring with me for 20 minutes. I want to give everybody a blueprint on how to craft their well-crafted story. So if you go to freestoryguide.com, again, freestoryguide.com, we're going to provide you a blueprint on how to create your well-crafted story. I believe on the webpage, Jimmy created the webpage. I believe he has a way of contacting us after that. But again, whether you do business with us or not, and this is what I always tell clients, I still have a responsibility to help you. And so this blueprint will help you at least create your basic structure to a well-crafted speech. And I just really, again, Brandon, want to thank you and commend you for all that you do. And thanks for taking the leap. Most people talk. I like the people that walk.
Well, we're talking to an audience of those people for sure. And I'm curious, I want to ask you a follow-up question on your freestoryguide.com. So real quick, if you're watching or listening, it's on the screen, also watching or listening, wherever you are, it's in the show notes down below. So you can go take action. You can walk the walk, like Danny said. For those people who do want to walk the walk, once they do that, what would be the very next step? What is the actionable step where they can, using your words, see the quick results, the fruits of their labor, if you will? Is it do a Facebook Live? Is it go on a podcast? What would you say would get them that quick win?
Well, they should attend our workshop. I'll pitch that for sure. It's
Let's
a 2-day
do it. I
workshop.
love it.
But what we do is we put you on a call with our sales team to qualify, to make sure. Another thing that I don't work with people that are broke. I don't like that. I see people have no problem taking people's social security checks. And I'm like, that's just not what we're about. We're about helping people, and I started off as a struggling entrepreneur, and the blueprint that I'm giving you for free, that will help you succeed. And if you want to take the next step, you can make the investment in our 2-day seminar. But I'm not going to work with a person that this is your last time. I'm working with people that they want to polish themselves. And I mean, I always ask people, well, what's one client worth to you? Because our workshop costs less than one client's going to provide you for the rest of your life. And usually, I was just working with an insurance agent 2 days ago, and he was amazed. He's like, my gosh, I got 7 people just today. And I always tell people, your results may vary, but again, he went out and did the work. He did the work, and he actually made the presentation. He didn't even do a great job with his presentation. And he sold 7 people. He couldn't believe it. He was like, my gosh, this is great. But again, this is no magic bean. You got to do the work. And that's why I'm a big believer in, you got to have coaches to help. I hired a marketing coach because I needed somebody to help me with marketing. You look at Tiger Woods, greatest golfer in the world. He has a driving coach. He has a short game coach. He has a putting coach. Maybe he should have hired a relationship coach, but he knows the value of coaches.
Absolutely. Yeah. Coaches in all of the areas are important. Let's just Tiger Woods. Let's highlight that real quick.
Yeah.
Danny, I love it. Thanks for coming on. This was a fabulous conversation.
Thanks, Brandon. Thanks for all you do. God bless.
And for those of you watching and listening, the links are down below. You can go take action if you want. If not, you can stay stuck, but you can at least listen to tomorrow's episode. But take the action of at the very least, please subscribe, please. We'll see you tomorrow if you subscribe on the next episode of Harmonious at Lunch, where our whole goal is to help you build a more harmonious business and life 5 days a week. We'll see you there. Thanks for listening.